be an issue.
Okay.
There you
Okay,
go.
good.
Okay, well, that solves that problem. How about screen
Well-
sharing?
Yeah, I'll be able to do that.
Okay.
Oh, you can do it, Joe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Excellent.
Alrighty, so after a brief hiatus, we are in session, and it is recording. In attendance are Peter Vieri, Charlie Norris, Carl Kilduff, Joan Gay, and Susan Tyler. In addition, we have staff Lisa Gibson, Chris Dennison, and Joe Comerford. Thank you all for coming. Our first item is a discussion of budget versus actual, which I will ask Helena to take care of.
Okay, I just gotta pull up the screen for me.
It's coming.
Okay.
Let's see. Does everyone see it now?
Nope.
No?
There
Yes.
you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we're good.
Okay, just gotta move a little bit around. There's a budget versus actual, and it's the summary one. You look in the bottom. If you want it, I will go over every single grant, but this is summary for each one if you look at it. So we actually have a $20,000 surplus compared. So we're doing fine. We're doing okay. So there's it's from July to April 20. We still have 2 months left, and we'll see what happens. In those 2 months, we have at some extra salary and some extra positions, so that may change a little bit. But I don't see we will have any issue end of the year, because whatever we go over, we can use correct money to subsidize those. So this year it's nice stressful, thanks to the money we receive from federal government. I just want to show Joe, can you show them Extra Mile and CARE Act? I just like to show them where we at with those grants. So this Extra Mile for this fiscal year, this is where we spend it. And I put it in the bottom. I have another thing. So we received $960,000 in the CARE Act for Extra Mile. So we draw so far 147. So remaining, it's remaining $812,000, little over $812,000. Now, CARE Act money, all that was, so here is our CARE Act money. We have 2 parts. One is urban and one is rural. Urban was just CARE Act plus Extra Miles, which is split between $1,540,000 we received in CARE Act, and also we receive Extra Mile CARE Act revenue 960. So those put together, it's $2.6 million plus. And I show you what we draw. We still will be draw already obligated. So so this is our balances as of April. Okay. We also receive a rural CARE Act revenue from the DOT, and they give us 30,000. We draw almost 14,000 obligated. So we're a little behind that because we didn't start drawing they didn't give us to I believe in later on one of that. So we still have remaining $14,000 there. So we'll see what we can do to draw end of the year by June.
Helena, excuse me, on the Extra Mile Care, the 960,000, is that part of the $1,540,000?
No, that's separate. That's why I was saying that we got 2.6 million together. When you add them, there will be 2.6. No, I just split the 2.6 between 2.
Okay.
Okay. No, that's the same part, but that's how we split. We awarded we took 2.6 and split between CARE Act, urban, and actually we allocate to Extra Mile 960. That was internal allocation for us. So if you don't use it or something, you can use that still the 960, you can use for something else if you really need it. That's one part, we just split internally here in addition. But grant came 2.6 million.
Okay.
So,
Helena, would you go back to the front page, please?
mhm.
On the bottom, is there a reason why there's no numbers for the regional shuttle and Route 81? No results?
Well, that's mean we don't not deficit or we not in surplus. So that's mean we will right with the budget right now. So we when you look at it, when you go to the okay. So here's regional. You see DOT for a DOT. Actually, we have deficit and 53 and plus local money. We have some local share in that. So that money, so it's all zero out for it. So expenses and revenue zero out. So that's why I say showing that if there's no minus or plus, that's mean we right with the budget. So in summary.
Well, I really don't understand the connection between this and lack of numbers on the bottom part, but
Well, that's why I just showing that this is summary will be add with all the grants. So that's what it is. So with the grants, in the bottom is each grant located in a spreadsheet, so you can look in and see exactly. And the total showing revenue over here on the top, showing the period, the first one, that will be on the total budget with all the grants. Because how we track with the grants, it's very different than town budget, or they have total budget and they go our budget, the summary budget is each little grant has their own, it's like own little budget. So I have all this budget together and then I put a summary. So you guys, we can go all and go all every single one in the bottom one. And I show you a regional Route 81, every budget will be at. So I just put a quick summary sheet on the front to let you know, because all the numbers comes from those sheets and show you over here real quick. If you want to spend more time and we can go by each one. You can do that.
Let me just add quick too that so with everything but those two you see there, the Midshore and Riverside, if we're under budget, we can't use that money for anything else. So that's why it just gets zeroed out if we're under budget,
Correct.
because it can't
Yeah.
it can't
You
go
can
against
have a
another grant
surplus
that's
and those.
over. Right, but
You
those
can give
two
it back to them.
those two we can apply what we go over budget to deficit on another program.
Correct. If we have a deficit, that will be show up there. If we and the budget or have a surplus, it won't show up because DOT won't give us money. They just only give us up to the budget what they allocate in DOT.
So this is more of a summary of how it impacts our
Mhm.
contribution to the general fund at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So right now we're at a positive 20,168 from these different
Plus, yes. Plus from those two, from those two grants on top of whatever left from local match if you don't use it. So
Charlie, are you comfortable with that?
well, I really don't understand it, but I'll let it go by. Because it obviously would, require a lot of going into a lot of detail of the
correct.
budget. So let's leave it where it is, okay?
Okay, we could arrange for anyone who would like a little private tutorial with Helena
Yes.
on this going forward. For anyone who'd like to learn a little bit more how it works, but it does look confusing that as long as there's no surplus, none of the numbers show except in the accounts that we can actually reuse the surplus for other things.
Mhm.
So it does get a little confusing, but this is only through April 30th.
Correct.
Helena, do you have just a sense of how the year is going to end up since we're almost to the end of June?
I think we may have a little, maybe deficit, maybe. I'm not sure. It depends. The fair revenue will start a little pick up, which is help us not as much, but it does. But if we have deficit, then we have to rely on the CARE Act and use the money to offset.
Mhm. There's no deadline on the CARE Act money, is there? We just, as long as we have it, we can use it.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
But Charlie raises a good point, that some of that surplus is, if we don't use it, we lose it, right?
No,
No.
Correct. In the state money, yes.
in the state money, yes, but the $20,000 there, the $20,000 there, Peter,
Yeah.
that we can reallocate to other programs.
Those,
Okay,
yes, those two programs, yes, we can do. We can use those two programs to offset other deficits in other program.
And the way that FGA has explained the CARES money is there's no expiration in the legislation. However, you keep hearing talk on this infrastructure bill of spending unspent money, of reallocating unspent money. So at some point, they will reallocate the money if it's not spent.
Mhm. Okay. That's
Yeah.
important information to have. Any
Yeah, every
other
every time I hear that out there, I'm thinking, oh, yeah, I get nervous that what
Yeah.
money are they talking about spending?
Mhm. Okay. Any other questions on budget to actual for Helena? Okay, thank you, Helena. Item number 3, cash flow, which is also you, Helena. You are rolling in dough here.
I know. I have no concern about our cash flow. We seems gone well. The only thing I have, I didn't add it here, but we got this new services for summer, and as Susan can see, our payroll went up a little bit. So, but I don't think it's overly concerned with all this money over here, because what we have to do, we have to first of all run and then we build the DOT back. So we didn't even have TOD from them, but so I don't know what they telling Joe. Joe probably know better than I. So when we receive the TOD, then I will put it in to show you all this stuff. For this new services, the Park Connect services, we already started like a week ago, and you can see on the payroll it's went up. So
Yeah, we know it's about $153,000.
okay, so yes, so that's why I have to relocate. I don't have as much time to put all this stuff. So next finance committee we will have more better picture.
And
And
I think just to, if you put that in perspective of our, if you annualize that, that's $153,000 for 3 months. So annualized, that's, over $500,000. So that's like a 25% increase in service for us for the summer. So it's just to kind of put in perspective what a significant increase it is for the summer.
And that's
Elena, you've gone to the trouble of putting numbers on these sheets. When you refer to one, I have to go through and look for the pretty pictures. Could you maybe tell us what page you'll be working on?
Right now you mean cash cash flow?
Chris,
That's the one
Chris,
that's
do you have
showing the
that?
bank statements. Yeah.
Chris, do you have he's referring to the numbers in the packet.
Oh, I don't know.
This is
I
our
didn't
first
put it
time.
all
looking at
together,
the
Chris
packet,
did.
so
yeah,
that's
that's actually
that's a good point. So
Yes,
Our
okay.
our first time, we hadn't thought of that.
Okay.
But Chris, do you have that number there? She's looking it up.
Oh,
Not trying to be difficult, but
no.
it's a
It's
little
our first time.
confusing.
It's our first time using the packet like that, so. we
no, it's a
didn't-
good question, Peter.
Mhm.
It's helpful.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, we will not have the board meeting now, because
Yeah,
they will have the
that's-
same thing.
I think it's helpful to organize it. We just didn't
Mhm.
think to
Yeah.
pull out the packet and look at
It's
it.
a lot, yeah.
Susan,
Well,
I,
you certainly have a nice layout on it. It's just that I'm confused and I'm lost, and I'll be back in about a week, and by that time I'll understand it.
Well, you must be looking at this, Peter, on
It's on page 15.
another
Oh.
device in the packet. But if you just look at the screen where your Zoom is, you can see the individual page that Helena's referring
Talking
to.
about, yes.
Ah,
Did you hear Lisa? It's page 15 in the packet.
oh, that's great, because that's much bigger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll start.
Okay.
We'll make sure to have
Thank
that
you.
ready in the future. I didn't realize it had page numbers and all that. So
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Okay.
Oh,
Peter,
So
do you have any other questions?
Yeah, Susan, I have a question.
Sure, Charlie.
The end of August showed a surplus or positive $674,000. Which is really a nice figure, which we haven't seen in a long time.
Right.
But is some of that money expected to be dispensed with items in the future that have not been recorded?
Correct.
Or do you expect that about the 674 will continue on a monthly?
No. No, the reason why we get that, because we get estimated payments, 3 months payments, and that's why I put it at 251,000. We get that in advance, 3 months advance, and then I bill duty original shower, so it's not expected. As we go into the months, it's money going down because we using them to pay all our expenses. So it's advance.
the other thing you see here is the 160 something thousand.
Correct. I highlighted those two. You see the yellow one? That's the money and we get it in advance. So money from accounts and money from DOT, the 251, it's a regional shuttle, which when they give us advance, they should in July. I put it there. If you receive it in July, that's what we will look. If you receive in August, the number all moving and change. But those yellow numbers, the money from the town, what they give us in the beginning of the year, all the dues, we have to use whole year. And 251, it's 3 months in advance. So as we using it every month, it will go, and then I bill them again 3 months in advance. And they'll probably, if they give us October or November, that will number jump again because we will receive 3 months in advance. And then as we go into December, they're going down. So
Okay,
that
it's just showing you guys how we will do. That's just estimated because, like I said, that can change. Immediately receive payments in July and August, these numbers will change. But that's why I'm showing you what I expect from duty or what I expect to see in receivable in those months. But they can be moving any month. I know the DOT will pay us probably end of July. They will pay us. Maybe beginning of August. Some years, when they have bad years, they will then pay us to September or October for first quarter. So we carry them 3 months or 4 months before we receive money from them. So it changed.
So Charlie, the bottom line is that's not what our general fund is going to look like.
No,
Yeah.
it's not. No.
I got it.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Any other questions on the cash flow for Helena? Okay, excellent report. Thank you. Discussion of the proposed budget. We did do this in a little bit of a reverse order, given that we had to publish the budget 2 weeks prior to actually voting on it, which will take place on Friday. These documents are the same as the ones that were sent out for the special meeting that we had on this. I think it was last week, but let's go over this in however much detail people will feel comfortable and want to go through so that we understand what's happening. And I think in the end, Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, we do need a motion to recommend approval of the budget coming out of finance today.
Yes.
Okay. All righty.
And this is
So,
page 25 in your packet if you're looking at the paper.
thank you, Lisa.
Oh, you're an angel. Thank you. Thank you.
Of course, the thing in the packet goes over 3 different pages, so you kind of have to put it together as if it were a long landscape kind of thing. But anyway, Helena or Joe, why don't you take us through an overview of the budget, and anyone who has questions, please jump in.
You want me to do it, Joe? Joe? Oh, I don't know. Okay, I will start it. So, well, this this budget this year is very kind of different than we used to do it, because this budget, with all the stuff going on with UT, and we need to put in a place all the extra we expecting from the MOA committee coming in, from the agreement between Connecticut DOT and our board. So what I did this year, a little different. I took the budget, the 2021, when you see there, and I add some extras, and then we create the budget, which is when you open the additional expenses, you'll open it. So when you look at this, that this is what we expecting money from DOT to fund all these positions, and all the extra utility, rent, insurance. I add all the stuff that will be added to this year budget. Will be at now. So as you see, we have maintenance director. I add $125,000. That's what we asked DOT for annual salary, for 80 and 45 and benefits, human resources manager, procurement manager, lead supervisor, special project manager, which is divided between 2 districts. That money not coming up from DOT, that money coming out actually from our CARE Act, but it's there in the budget. Also, I don't know, you guys know, we rent another unit. So I add another unit, so that I add another $31,000 for that, utility, insurances, and we have security guard there. I don't know if that will be staying still whole year or not, but right now we have it, so I add annually. So plus I add summer pilot program for $159,000. So that came out to a total of $770,000, which is I add appropriate to the budget, mostly when on a regional shuttle, and that's we expected to DOT give us TOD money and that grant. So that's how everything lay out. So when I did all this thing, we end up with when you look at when Joe up in budget, we end up with this budget. That's my estimate what we will have. And Joe can take after this and explain how our budget works and what we have to do if any changes.
Helena, one quick question. What
Mhm.
percentage increase, if any, did you assume that we would receive from DOT?
Actually, I didn't, I left the flat.
It's flat, okay.
Okay, yes. I just took the budget that what we have actually received money for this fiscal year. And I figured if they give us, that will just be plus. If they don't give, we still have CARE Act, we may subsidize with that we have to run it, so we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Okay.
Were there any items and categories within the expenses that were, other than the ones you identified as additional, that stuck out as noteworthy, or was it just a continuation from year to year?
Yeah, Susan, yeah, the line 7, the salary and wages going from $1.2 million to $2 million is noteworthy, and then
Right.
about
Those are outlined under the additional expenses. though,
Yeah,
Charlie?
they all there, yes. So.
I was sort of asking, other than those things, did any expense categories carry any unusual changes?
Well, that's what was the unusual was the security guard. So we put in money for that, but I don't know, Joe better know. We just decided to put it for annual. Maybe I don't know, we still need it. I don't know. We just put it in case we need it, because Joe can explain how our budget works. Our budget doesn't work like in the town, like item, board have to go to move from one item to other. Our budget works more like by grant, where we received all the money and we have to stay with the money there. So as long as we stay with the money, whatever we receive from DOT on our local match, we have to stay with that. We can move between items. So like saying, yeah, I expect the health insurance went up this much, and right now we have drivers who doesn't take health insurance. But that driver may leave tomorrow or a month from now, and then we hire somebody else who has a health insurance, and then that change. So we can still move money between as long as we're staying with the total. But the total money would allow allocated to that grant.
Mhm.
So that's how that works.
So the main budget goes from about 2.56 million to
To
3.36. It's about an $800,000 increase from year to year. It's attributable almost entirely to those three things that
Yeah.
Helena had
Yeah.
on there. 471
Yeah.
for staffing, 140 for the change in how we store and protect the buses, and the 160 for the summer pilot
Right.
program from DOT. So that leaves $30,000 of little cats and dogs
Well,
here and
That'd be
there.
salary increase for the annual, so 2.5%.
Right,
Yeah.
that's right. So that this one chart pretty much explains
Explains, yeah.
entirely the increase, the dramatic increase from year to year. I assume that, oh, and one thing to keep in mind, you'll see under staffing that Chris Dennison, the special projects manager, is split 50-50. All of the other salaries are attributable 100% to estuary, because estuary is the district that receives the TOD. Several of those staff are doing some work for Middletown as well, but they're being accounted for under estuary because we received the TOD for them. Is that correct, Helena?
Yes, and
Okay.
and it's because Middletown eventually will join us, so it was not that was the way to give estuary all this thing, the salary and all this new position, because then they don't have to change TOD. That will, everybody will eventually be in estuary. So
Right.
And there's no local match on them. So it's all
so,
state.
oh, correct. That's right, and that's even better. Yes.
Yes.
Just Middletown has a 23%
Most
local
important
match.
part. Right. The most important part is it's all state
Correct.
fund covering these positions. So
Correct. So
give it
so
to us.
local match. Yes,
Right.
that's very important. Yeah.
We do not currently have approval for all of those positions. We are
Okay.
waiting for approval on the HR, procurement, and lead supervisor positions. No idea on timing when that will come in. That really seems to be dependent on when the MOA or
Mhm.
whatever form it takes is signed. But let's open it up to any other questions that people may have on the budget.
A quick question, and I think maybe it's for you, Joe. I'm not quite so concerned immediately about 21, 22 based on the inflow of money you're getting. But if you looked out to 22, 23, how much of the money that you're getting this year would carry forward into another fiscal year versus stuff that's one-time revenue?
Yeah, so the only things really that
Yes.
we know have a time limit is CARES funds.
Yes.
Well, not so much time limit as, you know, there's a certain amount of money there. And we do have some there, but again, most of that is for the extra mile. And we are told that's going to be eventually moved over to state funding. The other stuff, I have not seen yet what the biennial budget looks like. provided that it stays relatively consistent with what it's been. The rest of it should be okay. I mean, besides that pilot program, that is a 1-year pilot. That's only going to be this fiscal year. And then we'll be subject to change next year. The other stuff, again, outside of CARES, is all as stable as the state funding ever is. For what that right now we probably have a few years that the transportation side is stable, because we still have the CARES funds. The state has not even touched yet the CRSSA funds, which were substantial as well. At least $200 million there. And they haven't touched the ARP funds, which are, a few hundred, I think it's like 2 or 3, another 200 million or so. So we have at least a few years that the state has a pot of money there to help them out. But we also see already that they're wanting to see how much CARES money we drew.
Yep.
Whereas they weren't asking before. Now all of a sudden they want to see and make sure we're not taking both state and federal money. Some districts we know have actually done that. They've both drawn from the state and they've drawn the federal money, which is not prohibited. But I think they have become wise to that. We have not done that, so we're okay. But it looks like they're starting to look for that happening.
All right, so it's all predicated on the state being a good funding partner.
The state is the bulk of our funding, about 65% or so. And then other stuff some of the federal money we get flows through the state. So when you add all that in, it's more up in the 70s. So we are always heavily dependent upon the state funding us well. But again, this is probably the best position I've ever seen us in because of these pots of federal money out there. So things look good for at least a couple of years. They're looking to expand. They're asking us for opportunities to expand service, and they're talking a significant expansion. So they're not talking cuts at all right now. For the first time in a long time, they're not talking about cuts at all.
That's pretty wonderful.
Perhaps though, the only vulnerability to key on Carl's comment is if the negotiations at the federal level on the infrastructure bill try to recapture unallocated and uncommitted money from CARES, it could become a problem. Is
That's
that
not,
right?
It could be an immediate problem. So yes, we want to start thinking of ways to use those funds.
Right.
But there's also 2 other pots of money that haven't been distributed yet. So
And are those federal pots, Joe?
Yeah, that the CRSSA was the coronavirus relief something act.
Okay.
That was the one passed in November, December.
Right.
Right at
The
the end of the Trump administration.
The 900 billion. Right.
Yeah. And then the ARP is the most recent one.
That's the one Biden passed in January.
Correct. So the CRSSA, I guess, has been held up by the negotiation, the split with New York. Because, we have Southwest Connecticut's part of the New York metro area. So they have to negotiate a split agreement. And that has taken a very long time. Last I heard, it was still not completed.
Mm-hmm.
that sounds like a major element, Joe.
It's something that they always have to do. We have to do that every single year. There's a split negotiated. But of course, New York is saying they need a lot more money than everyone else needs. So they're trying to keep as much as they can for themselves and not give much to New Jersey and Connecticut.
Thank you.
And that might be resolved now. Neither one of them can, none of those three states can unilaterally decide anything. They have to agree in the end.
I have a question for you, Carl, along these same lines, since Clinton obviously has recently done its budget. Are you similarly concerned from a town point of view of getting left holding the bag on money you thought you had that they might take away?
Not with the federal stimulus dollars. Those are pass-throughs from the state that they have no obligation but to give to local government. The issue would be whether the feds decided to claw something back as part of the infrastructure negotiations, but it's my understanding that that's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think on the municipal side, the track record of the state being a reliable funding partner is a little more inconsistent. So, I've seen where the state's got money and they push it out for, it's there for 1 or 2 years, and then the pot they're pushing it out of, once that's dry, that's it, they're done.
Right.
So it's just, if you're gonna build something based off of one-time state revenues, expense should be siloed off to make sure either unwind the program once the state money dries up, or you make a business decision to absorb it back in and pick it up some other way. For me, it's property taxes. For you guys, it's municipal contributions and the fare box.
Yeah.
That's one of the things we discussed in this discussion of service enhancements is, okay, if you're going to use this federal money, what's the plan when it runs out?
Exactly.
And we're being told that the indication is that if it's whatever they do, they would do it with the intent to continue it beyond the federal funding.
That's their intent.
That's their intent. That's what we're told. No.
Okay. All right. Joan, do you have any questions?
No,
Okay. Are there any other questions on the budget or observations?
I don't have any questions, but I want to congratulate you on this format, because without these 25 pages or whatever it is, it would be very difficult to follow you. So I appreciate how you've laid it out from downloading from the computer. That's great. So thank you.
Oh, I'm glad to hear
It does look like the packet is I looked at it for the full board meeting. It does look like it makes it much easier to find things and to have it all in one place without having to constantly go back and forth to various attachments. So this is a welcome addition to the way we do business.
just as an FYI, I was not able to open up the packet. Instead, I got this XML file, does not appear to have any style information associated with it. And then I got some code in there. Error code, authentication failed, blah, blah, blah.
Did you try Lisa's second link, Joan? That happened with the first link, but then
I
she
got it with
correct.
both links.
All right.
Both.
We'll talk to
Yeah, we'll figure it out for you.
the vendor.
Is that-
I'll just,
that-
before we go off the budget, I'll mention one last thing is we are receiving about almost 2.4, no, I'm sorry, 1.8 million, I think it is, in capital funds this year. So that's an addition to our operating.
And a lot of those are for the merger projects, correct?
The majority of it is, yeah, we got all the funding for the initial studies we want to get done, which was 390,000. Radio funds to, replace the radios, funds to do software, get the software the same between the two districts. Replace some vehicles, purchase some new support vehicles.
There's some branding and HR stuff in there too.
That's all the studies, yep, in the 390.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so we did get a lot of capital funds as well.
So this is one area, folks, where the capital units of DOT don't necessarily talk to the operating units of DOT. because we don't have this agreement signed yet, but we do have the money on the capital funding side. Okay, any other
That's all
questions?
federal money, isn't it, Susan? Didn't Joe say that's federal money?
It's a mix. So the capital is 80% federal and 20% state match. So the 80% federal, we are direct recipients on. So we go straight to the feds, but then we gotta go back to the state for the match.
Kind of significant where you get all the capital money from the feds, but the state seems to be reluctant even on committing on state money. Anyhow, that's just a thought.
Right. The operating money is always tougher. It's always so much tougher for them to commit to operating money because on the capital side, we have an annual appropriation of federal funds that they just plan to match every single year because you're not going to leave 80% on the table. So that's a lot easier for them to fund than it is operating.
Sure. Okay. Any other questions on the budget? Okay, there being none, may I have a motion to recommend approval of the proposed fiscal year 2021, 2022 budget to the full board?
So made.
Second,
Charlie first, second Peter, thank you. Further discussion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? The motion is carried. Thank you. Item number 5 on the agenda, discussion of items for June 18th regular board meeting. Obviously, the budget will be front and center. Helena will do her 2 reports. Is there anything else that we are interested in presenting to the board at the meeting on Friday? Helena, do you have anything? Joe?
No, not from the finance side. We'll also, I guess when we do the budget, we'll mention the capital too.
Yeah, okay, that's a good idea. All righty, under 6, other business, is there any other business? All righty, there being none, may I have a motion to adjourn at 10:14?
so move.
So move Peter, second Joan, thank you. We will see everyone at 9:30 on Friday, the 18th. And we are meeting with DOT on Thursday, so we may have some information